Hello there, Eagles fans, and welcome back to our Eagles Therapy Podcast. I'm Basil.
I'm Baz.
And we are recording Friday, March 14th, 2025. First week of free agency in the books. Dad, how you feeling?
Pretty good. I mean, it's slow start, but it's probably pretty much over now. Now it's just getting ready for the draft. Yeah. So yeah, it's been fun. I mean, to watch
slow start. Slow start, had some surprises here and there for the Eagles, also around the league, which we'll touch on all of it as we get into it here. Dad, as we start off, I mean, I want to go in order of what happened day by day, but I think I don't feel like we can do that. I think we have to first address the trade. Trading away our safety, Chauncey Gardner Johnson, and a 2026 sixth-round selection to guard Kenyon Green and a 2026 fifth-round selection to the Houston Texans. This caught everyone by surprise, man.
Yeah, it did. It just kind of blew everybody away because, I went online, I was checking it on my phone. There were a lot of comments, a lot of people not particularly happy with it, confused as to what we were doing. This is, I would say one of the top echelon guys that we wanted to keep for our defense. Vaughn, obviously, and the guys, but he was one of the guys that we didn't really think was even going to be going anywhere. Like, it wasn't even a thing.
It was not a thing at all. And, it's funny because, I told you I've looked at mock drafts and everything from weeks ago and just the last few weeks. And one of them or a couple of them here and there had us taking a safety. And I kept on going, why would we take a safety? What are you talking about? Then we trade Chauncey Gardner Johnson. And now it's like, oh, my God, like, it might be likely we take a safety with that first pick. I don't think we will, but it's very possible.
Yeah, well, definitely going to be on defense.
It's just I just can't believe it. I mean, and this was a stunner. I mean, and this one also hurts because it's a fan favorite and everyone loved him, and I know he's not only is he a great player, he's a great show for us to watch, and he gets into it on the field and talks.
He's a really kind of player. He played rough. He played a little bit reckless. He played a little bit, maybe not, I don't want to say dirty, but you know what I mean. More aggressive than most players. He came in and he made some fourth down stops in the last couple of
28 games with us in the 2 seasons he played, 12 interceptions, 2 Super Bowl appearances, 1 Super Bowl win. Kind of had a fake pick in the Super Bowl this year, if you remember.
Yeah. He's 2 for 2 for Super Bowls playing for us.
There he goes there. I know. Man, it's a bummer. It's a loss of a vocal leader. I don't know. The big thing that they've been kind of saying, we're trying to cut salary, and I get that. We do have a lot of guys that we're going to be signing down the line when we have to sign quick.
This is a guy you already have in your roster. You already know what he's got. You know what he brings. That's what was weird. And I think he played better this year than the last time we had him a couple years ago.
I would agree with that.
You're just more secure, and when you knew he was out on the field, you didn't worry. I mean, yeah, it's an odd one. It's really an odd one.
It is. It's definitely a bummer. And what makes it kind of a bummer is what we received, Kenyon Green, former first-round pick. That makes you happy, gets you a little excited. And then you read a little about him, and he's twice been rated one of the worst guards in the NFL. Yeah. And I think he's only played left guard in the league, and we're looking for a right guard. And I mean, you have faith in Stoutland, usually as always. But man, I just the return did not feel worth it.
Yeah, I mean, a former first-round 15 overall pick. I mean, this guy definitely at one point was regarded as one of the top players in the draft.
Yeah, and for college, one of the best guards in college, at least.
So hopefully a fire can be lit underneath him. Hopefully him and Steen can push each other. But it's just odd. I mean, it wasn't what we were looking for.
Definitely, no, I agree. Okay, let's talk about some of the other changes along the way. Let's talk about the other trade if you want to. This one I'm kind of more okay with. Traded Kenny Pickett. Sad to see him go. Played well for us in those 2 games that he had to play. Got a Super Bowl, and he was an Eagles fan when he grew up. So you're kind of happy for him that he got to go to the Eagles and play for them a little bit and won a Super Bowl. It's great. But we did get in return Dorian Thompson-Robinson and a 2025 fifth-round selection. So another fifth-rounder for this year. It gives us 4 fifth-round picks and another quarterback. This one felt essential as much as we enjoyed Kenny Pickett as our backup, and he probably is one of the better backups in the league. We have another one of the better backups in the league in Tanner McKee. Yeah. So you feel like you kind of had to go, you know what, let's try to get something from Pickett while we can, and McKee can take that backup spot.
We knew that was going to happen, where if they can get something for him, something good, they were going to trade him, because we knew McKee was really the number 2.
Yeah.
I mean, last year. But this was actually the first move that we made in the free agency period that I liked.
Yeah.
The other ones we couldn't control. The guys were leaving. We couldn't do anything about it. But this was the first one that I kind of went, okay, that's a good move. Getting that 5th round pick next year is huge. So big time.
Let's talk about the other releases. So,
5th round pick this year.
Yeah, this year.
So that added to our 5th. So now we have 4 5s, which, they could turn that 2 5s into something, the 3 or something, So, it's definitely good.
Only one of those is going to be used. They're all, the other 3 are going to be traded somehow.
Yeah, they'll be moved around.
The other releases, so we already talked about Slay and Bradbury. Slay did come to terms with the Pittsburgh Steelers on an agreement, so good for him. Pittsburgh feels like a good place for him, if you know what I mean. I feel like
defensive team.
Yeah, it's 1 year, $10 million. He'll have a chance to be good and start for a good defense. No love lost, no hate, no hatred there.
Exactly.
I'm happy for him. I think it was a good place for him. Like once they said Pittsburgh, I was like, oh yeah, that just seems like Slay.
I mean, as much as we wanted to come back, but that was only going to be on a $5 million contract. I mean, we weren't going to pay any big money for him. So
you got $10 million.
There's no way we were going that high. Yeah. It's a shame. We really needed the what do you call hometown discount for him to stay. If he really wanted to stay, obviously, he wanted to move on, so he did.
Yeah, that's right. Let's talk about Milton Williams was the big one. So Milton Williams ranked, I think, by the NFL and the free agents as number 1, which is kind of stunning. You're like, really? Like, number 1? This is a guy who's never played 50% of the snaps in the season.
Yeah.
He only played 25 snaps in the Super Bowl, which I know he played amazing.
Yes.
I'm not trying to bring him down or anything, but signs a 4-year, $104 million contract with the New England Patriots. Before that, around the league, there was some news about the Panthers were looking for him. The Cardinals were kind of trying to talk to him. Ended up being the Patriots. Dad, what you got to say about that?
His agent did a pretty good job.
Definitely.
It's funny because we've liked Milton from his rookie season.
Oh, yeah.
And we were always pulling for him, and he got better every season. We really loved it. This year, he was really, really awesome. I never saw $26 million a year.
No.
I never saw that. It's funny how, just one good postseason and you can lock it up. I figured he was going to get about 18 or 19 a season because he was one of the top interiors. He had a really good PFF, all that. Sack wins, whatever they call it.
Pass
wins, right. So
block win.
He was busting by a bunch of players, and he was playing phenomenally. They couldn't double team him. He was really, really awesome, and it's good for him, definitely.
The next big one, Josh Sweat, goes to the Arizona Cardinals on a 4-year, $76.4 million deal. Another guy boosted his worth a lot in that Super Bowl. Had a good season. This one, we talk about like, oh, how much does it hurt and everything. And it's funny because all these pages they post, man, the Eagles are losing everybody. And you're like, well, Josh Sweat, I'm not saying he's not a good player, but he go.
There's no way he was coming back. There's no way.
Well, yeah, but did we want him back? He'd go 8 games without a sack. I mean,
last year
it's not fun.
He had to take a pay cut to stay with us for $10 million a year, and that kind of leaves a bad taste in the player's mouth, and it shows you what the organization thinks. He was actually given a chance to go look around last year, and nobody came for him. So it kind of shows you there's $10 million there, and now he's getting double that for the next 4 years.
That's good for him.
Yeah. So
of course goes to the Cardinals to be with Jonathan Gannon, former defensive coordinator for the Eagles. So,
and also
familiar face there.
One of the best sack dances in the league.
Oh, without a doubt, the celebration. It's probably the best sack celebration of my lifetime. I would say. I mean, I love Fletcher on the ground with the crawl and but
you couldn't see it down there. When you could stand up.
Sweat that's the best one.
Rumor has it that Hurts came up with that actual sack dance. He kind of told him that's what he should do with it.
Really?
Yeah, I heard about that a few days ago.
Okay,
that's a rumor, but that's what they said.
I have to check and see because if he got sacks, Hurts was drafted in 2020, so I'll have to check his highlights from 18 and 19 and see what he did there, but. It's a loss. It's a starter, same as Milton Williams, or fringe starter. You try, Milton Williams is in and out of this line.
He played about 60% of the snaps last year.
Yeah,
so he's up a little more than Milton
for sure. The next big one that left, Isaiah Rodgers. This one kind of surprised you and I. So last podcast, we did our stay and goes, who we think is going to be here. We both said, I believe, go for Milton Williams and Josh Sweat.
Definitely.
We didn't think they would be back.
No.
Rodgers, I think we both said stay.
Yeah, we did.
I think we were both kind of expecting him to be here.
Yeah.
And no, he signs a pretty good
I didn't
contract.
think he was going to break the bank, and I thought he wanted to be here too because he finally seemed to be playing. And I think he ended up with 30% of the snaps this season, and that's when Slay was here still.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he'd be playing 50%, if not more, this year for us. And, again, the number one defense, you hate to lose a guy like that. But
it's a 2-year, $15 million contract to the Minnesota Vikings.
Probably a little too rich for our blood.
That's the thing. I think they were probably saying, hey, go see what you're worth. We'll maybe try to match it.
2 for 10 maybe or something. But
and I think they were like, no.
It's a bummer. I like him.
It is.
It's a kind of a shame because, we pulled him in the year he wasn't allowed to play, and we kept him involved and let him play in the house and all that stuff. So it's kind of a bummer, but it's good for him.
Yeah.
The Eagles saw something in him.
Yeah.
And it showed.
The next one was Oren Burks. Went to the Cincinnati Bengals, 2 years, $5 million. This one was even more of a shocker. I think we both said stay.
Yeah.
This one was more of a shocker because only a 2-year, $5 million. It's kind of surprising to think, did the Eagles not match that? They couldn't match that? Like,
well, 29-year-old guy. I think they, career special teamer basically. And I think they just thought, what? We took him, placed him in the defense with 4 or 5 weeks left in the season, and he played that good. I think we can get a young guy and do the same thing.
Yeah,
I think that's what
the postseason, really. Yeah.
No, I'm sorry. Yes, in the postseason.
Yeah.
And that's pretty amazing. But he was here all year and part of the defense, so it wasn't like he, was just sitting on the bench the whole time watching videos. But he did play really well, and I really wanted him to stay, but can't keep them all, man. That's the biggest problem about winning the Super Bowl.
It is. The next big one as of this day to speak about is Kenny Gainwell going to the Pittsburgh Steelers. 1 year, $1.79 million. I like it for him. We're going to miss Kenny Gainwell. We loved him here. I think you and I both said he would be gone.
Yeah.
But it just felt like, he needs a chance to be a bigger part of an offense. Being behind Saquon here is just not going to happen.
Well, he could see. He's going to see what happens.
Yeah.
But, he knows how valuable he was to this team. I mean, look how much he played a lot this year. He 2-minute warning guy. He was there all the time.
Offense, yep.
He got, not a whole bunch of carries, but man, when he did, he made him count, So, yeah, it's good for him, and I'm sure he wants to try and go on his own. Let him fly.
The good news is, before we even talk about acquisitions or people we've re-signed or signed and retained or whatever, the good news about this, you kind of look at all the names on here, and it was a pretty clear, it's good that we're losing people that we have a clear replacement for. I don't want to say
somebody waiting in the wings.
Yes, I don't want to say replacement because you can't just. Sometimes it doesn't work that way. You can't just grab a guy and go, okay, he's gone. You'll play just as well. No, there's a lot that change and they could not be as good. But it's good that these are all positions that with them leaving, we do have someone in mind, and not just someone in mind who has shown growth or progression or promise. You know what I mean?
That's why Zach Bond was signed, because we don't have a guy waiting in the wings to step right into where his shoes are and has shown anything close to that kind of ability. But there's
you talk about guys. You talk about Milton Williams. The clear and obvious replacement there is Moro Ojomo, who you think, who's shown a lot of promise.
Showed up in the Super Bowl.
He's played well for us. Not a bunch of numbers and sacks and everything, but every time he's playing, he plays hard and he plays active. He's like the interior defensive line version of Nolan Smith. Nolan Smith, he just never stops. He's always sprinting.
Yes.
Moro Ojomo is never not going 100%. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he looked great last year, especially in the postseason. He was not somebody you worried about when he was out there, that's for sure.
Josh Sweat, you think Jalix Hunt, guy who showed promise, 1.5 sacks in the season, not playing much, and then 1.5 sacks in the entire postseason. So, you see good promise from him. He's a third-round pick that we spent last year on. You do think I do think we'll address defensive end in the draft and maybe sign some guys, but still, Jalix Hunt taking that spot, you show promise and you're happy with that.
Yeah, he looked really good. He so much better. Did not really expect him to do much, but man, even mid-season he started playing a lot. I kept saying look for number 58. Man, he was doing it. Made some great blocks on the Cooper DeJean touchdown. I mean,
that was great. Isaiah Rodgers and Darius Slay kind of group them together since Slay was hurt a lot this season, and Rodgers was covering for him. The Keely Ringo and Eli Ricks, that duo there who's been on the team for the past few years, both have some experience playing. Played a lot when they were young, didn't get to play as much last year because we had gotten Quinyon and Cooper.
Exactly.
But both guys who had showed promise, more so Keely, you think he kind of steps into that role as the starter, and hopefully Ricks is the rotational guy. And there's always going to be people who will sign in the offseason and in the draft. There'll be new people. But you still see those two that you're happy with. Oren Burks, Jeremiah Trotter, right there.
He's ready.
The number
two,
the number 3 linebacker who you trust to go in when we're missing a guy, especially with Nakobe possibly being out for most of the season next year. We don't know when. He could be making great progress. We don't know when he'll be back. And then Kenny Gainwell. You talk about him leaving. Will Shipley.
Yeah.
We drafted him in the 4th or maybe 5th round. I think it was the 4th round. Drafted in the 4th round, and he's that pass-catching running back who can kind of play in that that 2-minute offense.
I mean, limited. He didn't play much. Hopefully he's a good blocker. I'm not sure how big he is because Gainwell really did a lot of blocking.
And on the pass protection, yes.
And Dave Barkley, we just need that back to give Barkley the little rest he needs, or if he takes a good shot or something.
Yeah, I get you. All right, let's go ahead and talk about some of the signings we have, or some of the movement. Signing of, I believe, 9 guys here. Lou Nichols, he was with us last year, so you're kind of a familiar face there, possibly the 4th running back on the team. We did pick up Harrison Bryant from the Las Vegas Raiders. 1 year, $2 million. Dad, talk to me about that one.
Well, tight end, he's only got, I think about a 4 or 5 year career. I think he has 1,000 yards receiving in those 4 years.
Correct,
Really didn't get many catches last season. There was 1 year that he had some pretty good catch numbers. I'm forgetting how long ago that was. But a big guy, 6'5", blocker. Hopefully he can fill the role that we need for that tight end that goes in motion and just crushes somebody, one of the defensive ends or something to help there on the outside. So not much for a pass catcher, though.
Yeah. No, you're right, though. It's a nice, veteran who's
still camp body as well.
Yeah, veteran who's still young, only 26 years old, 6'5", 230s, big dude.
Big dude.
Only about 870 yards, 98 catches, 10 receiving touchdowns. I mean, it's not terrible.
Something.
5-year career. He was pretty buried in Vegas.
Brock
Bowers was the
rookie this year. Was a rookie of the year type guy.
And 2 years before Brock Bowers, they drafted Michael Mayer. So they in the 2nd round or the year before. So they got a 1st and a 2nd round pick over there in the tight end spot. And Harrison Bryant's the kind of
what am I supposed to do?
What do you do? I think it'll be a good guy to be the number 3 down here, and if he can make a couple catches.
And again, he's young. The money was not that high. You got to remember a lot of the guys that we're going to be picking up, we're trying to keep those compensatory picks, so we don't want to sign any big free agents. So that's going to happen after the draft.
Yes.
Unless a big time player pops up and we're able to pick them up. But for the most part, we're just going to pick up these guys that are kind of young, lower in the cost, how much it's going to cost to sign them.
Yeah. Next one I've got on here is going to be A.J. Dillon, running back, formerly of the Green Bay Packers. Picked him up in a 1-year contract. I don't have the numbers specifically yet.
Yeah.
He's had a pretty good career. Nickname is Quadzilla, so it's nice. He's similar to that Saquon Barkley physique,
right?
Kind of a bigger back. But he can pick up the tough yards. He can catch a little bit as well, and get a couple touchdowns here and there.
Yeah, the biggest thing with him is the mid injuries. He had a couple neck stingers. So he's been cleared, though, by several doctors. As a matter of fact, he said today he was cleared on the East and West Coast. So as long as we don't play in the Midwest, he'll be all right. But it's good signing. I think he was a big name coming out of college, and he's a big back. And it doesn't hurt to have somebody like that to change up the type of running back we have there as far as Barkley and Shipley, and then you can bring the bruiser when you need a 2nd and 2 or whatever.
Yep. Next one's going to be Joshua Uche. Talked a little bit about him before the pod. Kind of a linebacker, outside linebacker, edge guy. Played for the Chiefs last year, so we beat him in the Super Bowl. Signed him to a 1-year, $1.92 million contract. Not a big numbers guy. Dad, talk to me a little bit about him.
He's had a funny career. He was drafted by the Patriots.
Yes, 2nd round.
First year didn't play much, I believe. 2nd year, he kind of had a breakout season. But we were saying as well, his first season, the second season with them, he didn't do much till week 8, got a sack. Week 9 had 3 sacks. Week 14 had 3 sacks. So he had 11.5 sacks in 2022. But as you can see, kind of a streaky type sack guy. Hopefully he can get it together, but he's still very young, very inexpensive, and hopefully he's got a little chip on his shoulder. He was traded last season to the Chiefs kind of late in the year.
Yeah.
Never saw the field. He was also what do they call it? Inactive for the Super Bowl. So kind of like Josh Huff. So maybe him and Huff can get together and be pissed at the Eagles together, or pissed at the NFL together or something, and push each other.
Yeah. Next one, tight end, formerly of the Colts, Kylan Granson, 1-year contract for him. 86 catches in his career, 958 yards and a touchdown, drafted back in 2021 in the 4th round. Most likely a camp body, 6'3", 242 pounds, another big dude, but most likely another camp body.
I don't know much about him. I hadn't heard about his signing. So, but we're looking at a tight end. We're trying to get some tight ends.
Charlie Hewlett, so this one's a surprise. This was a long snapper from Cleveland, signed to a 1-year, $1.42 million, and we saying goodbye to
really confusing. That kind of came up late.
Lovato.
Came up late today. It wasn't like the big money savings. So it's not a money thing.
Yeah, I know
Lovato that quickly.
They kind of talked about Lovato, having some bad snaps when he got into the postseason, a couple bad snaps here and there. So that seems to be kind of the situation.
Just kind of weird.
I wanted to get a new guy.
One of the last, he's a 2-time Super Bowl champ with the Eagles. He was here for that first year with Jake Elliott as well, too, in 2017 season. So, it's just kind of odd. Who knows what happened? Maybe he's got an injury we don't know about. Maybe – I don't know.
I think they just got tired of his snaps. They just weren't very good when they got to the postseason. I think they kind of gave up on him there. Real quick, sorry, I wanted to say I think he's 10th in the all-time games played by an Eagle.
He was up there.
He gets a lot. He's played a lot, and like you said, 2-time Super Bowl long snapper for us. So it's a bummer.
Yeah, he's got a lot of games. I mean, that's 9 seasons. You got to figure that's close to 180 games, if not more. Then
let's see, make him. I don't see his name in here. John Dorenbos, of course, still up on the list there. Rick Lovato, 25th, 135 games for us.
Okay.
Pretty good amount. Brandon Graham up there with 206, so he doesn't have a chance beating him anymore.
Right. It's a shame. We liked him. Yeah. I think he even made a Pro Bowl one year.
He did.
2019, maybe.
I don't know if Charlie Hewlett has. I haven't really looked up too much about him yet. Next one signing going to be the Adoree Jackson. This one's kind of a big one. So from the New York Giants, 1 year, $1.75 million. Former first-round pick, I believe he had 18th overall by the Tennessee Titans. Used to be a kick returner and punt returner for them as well. Big player from USC back in college as well. Played with Nelly, I think, a little bit there.
I think he's an 8-year pro. He's done really well. He had a good year last year.
Drafted in 17, the year we won the Super Bowl. So
had a good year last year. He's not a slouch. So he's a little older. He's 30, I think, or 29, going to be 30. But he's one of those players that we can count on to come in when somebody goes down. I don't believe he's going to be a starter. I think he's just going to be one of the guys waiting in the wings to get in there if somebody goes down.
Yeah, I agree. I think we talked a little bit about the replacement of Isaiah Rodgers, kind of how Eli Ricks or whatever slides in there. I think Adoree Jackson. People might look at him as the replacement of Slay. I think he's more so the replacement of Isaiah Rodgers.
And that
fourth, fifth cornerback spot, I think that's where he's going to be.
I don't know if he has any history with any of our defensive coaches or anything because he's been around the league for years. So it's very possible.
Patrick Johnson coming back to the Eagles, Dad. This is the next one, the outside linebacker, defensive end. Patrick Johnson, you remember him? We drafted back in 2021. Round 7, I remember when I watched his highlights, I probably told the story on the pod before. I remember watching his highlights from college, and he reminded me so much of Brandon Graham. Like, he played the same way, the same body, 6'2", 246. Was on the Giants this year, so unfortunately didn't get to partake in the Super Bowl victory with us, but he is back, so we'll give him one next year. Happy to have him back, of course. Used to the offense, been around with Nick Sirianni, been around the team. He hasn't played much in his career, but he's been a rotational player for us in the past. I think that's kind of just to shore up that small we don't have that small edge room that we have right now.
Right. Yeah. He's wasn't very well used
Not,
here as
not,
well.
not a super productive guy.
He's still fairly
Great
young.
special teamer. He was a key special teamer for us for years.
There you go.
Probably was for the Giants last year. That was the big thing about him. So going to be a big special teamer and hopefully give us some quality snaps on the edge.
You need bodies for camp too as well. So that's and to help push some of the other guys. And maybe you never know. Right? It might be his year to have a breakout season. You never know.
Yeah. Next one for you, I think we just signed him earlier today. Avery Williams, running back and return specialist for the Falcons last year. Been with the Falcons since 2021. That means his first career game was a loss to the Eagles because we played them. If you remember, we played them week 1 back in 2021. So, it was his first game. Was a loss to us. But, he was mostly a kick returner, punt returner, special teamer, and gunner. So, might be able to be a good special teamer for us. I think he missed 2023 with an ACL, but I think he played all 2024. I don't have his stats pulled up.
Well, if Sidney Brown becomes a starter on defense, you're not going to want him to be a gunner anymore. So you got to be looking for players like this as well, guys to fill in and hopefully, fill that special team stuff out.
Yeah, no stats for Avery Williams last year. Looks like he didn't get on the field at all, but might be a special teamer. We'll see.
Right.
All right, one more thing we got to touch on for the Eagles before we jump into the non-Eagles category is going to be Ben Van Sumeren. We did re-sign him, which was great. I loved him. Running back and fullback and linebacker. Fullback for us until he got hurt last year in practice. Took him out for the season, and that's when we signed Kari Blasingame to be the fullback going into the Super Bowl and on the postseason run. I thought he gave us some pretty quality snaps at fullback, and I think he gives us some pretty good snaps at linebacker.
He did, and hopefully he's improved a little bit. He's a little bit young still as well, so we've only been around for a few years. There's been some talk about him in certain preseason games and things like that. Before the season started, there was some talk about him. So hopefully he's able to break into that role and be able to get in there and play a little bit more. Yeah. He did do some good stuff when we started using him as a fullback there. Yes. It was such a change from what we normally done. And, it helped in a few games where he made some plays. So
definitely a great special teamer as well.
Good deal.
Only 24 years old. Big dude, 6'2", 231 linebacker, has the body for it and can be a good fullback as well. So to me, 3 snaps at fullback a game, 5 snaps at linebacker, and all the snaps on
the Hunter kid from Colorado.
That's right. Travis Hunter. Yeah, they're in the same class. No, I'm just kidding. That's everything I got with the Eagles, Dad. You got anything else to say about it?
Not much. No, just we didn't talk much about DTR, the quarterback that we caught from the Browns, but.
It's a good backup to have. I always talked about. It's funny last year having Hurts as a starter and then 2 completely non-mobile and pocket passers to be his backup. Dorian Thompson-Robinson's good to have because he's athletic. Just
put the yellow penny on when they got when they're playing Lamar or something like that, they can use him in that role.
Very true.
Have a mobile quarterback guy that we got to watch out for. But other than that, I don't think he's going to see the field much. And
I agree.
Hopefully, the 5th round pick that we gets us somebody really well.
We'll see. Yeah, we'll see. All right, let's talk about some other moves in free agency around the league. We talked about this all earlier in the week, so we're trying to do our best here because we recorded on Wednesday and then we had some technical difficulties, couldn't get the episode out. So recording today on Friday. Please give us a like or a subscribe if you're watching on YouTube, and if you're listening on a podcast streamer like Spotify or Apple Music or anything like that, iTunes, whatever. Just rate and subscribe for us there. All right, Dad, let's talk about the non-Eagles. So Myles Garrett breaking the NFL record, I guess non-quarterback record, 4-year, $160 million. The big dream around the Eagles franchise, of course, was, we want to get Myles Garrett. And if we talked about, if you could, you do it. But there was no way it was going to happen. So for me, I'm just happy that he's staying in the AFC.
That's right.
Staying on a bad team.
Yeah.
I can watch him and like him there and just leave my team alone.
That's the biggest thing we take away from that. $40 million a year is crazy. To me, I just still don't understand. He wanted to be traded.
Yeah.
The Browns should have traded him. We got 3 number 1s, a couple number 2s, rebuilt the team, and in 2 or 3 years maybe get somewhere. Now they're just going to be mired in their mediocrity for the next 4 or 5 years.
I agree.
They got no quarterback. They got no cap money. It's just crazy.
And I got to talk about the people who thought that we could have even possibly got Myles Garrett. There was no chance. I just have to say that. We don't operate that way. We're not going to give away 3 number 1s and 3 number 2s. We're going to be good. We don't want to be bad for 2 years and then maybe have a shot at being good. The Browns needed to trade him and get
as much draft capital, player capital, cap money they could. And I don't get it. To me, it doesn't make any sense. Go Browns, I guess.
DK Metcalf traded from the Seahawks to the Steelers, and once he got there, he signed a 4-year, $132 million contract. Man, this is a pretty good move by the Steelers. Problem is, don't have anyone throwing him the ball down there, up there.
Right.
So
there.
Not too sure what they're going to be doing there. But it was a good trade and good sign for them.
Yeah, we remember talking about him. He's a player that his first and second year, I thought, man, we missed on him. We could have had a shot at him. I don't feel the same way as much anymore about him. I don't regard him as a top wide receiver. He's good. He's big. He's a bruiser. But
I got the wrong contract details. I'm sorry. It's a 5-year, $150.
That's right. $150. Yeah.
I was wondering, I'm like, why did I write this number?
He got $30 million a year. Yeah.
I agree with you. Not really a top guy anymore. But we did want to get him back.
We were mad that we passed or didn't grab him when we could have. But, he's still a good receiver. I'm not going to say he doesn't. But
he's the type of receiver that I wouldn't say he's a top 5. But if they wiped the slate clean and everyone got released and we had to build a team, I'd probably take him early because you just want him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he plays hard. He's not a quitter. He doesn't give up. He's not a troublemaker either.
He's huge and he's fast.
He's big and he's fast. But I just don't know how impactful he's going to be in the next 2 or 3 years. I mean, maybe now, maybe next year. And then of course they don't have anybody to throw the ball to him. Moon ball.
Please stop. God, that is the dumbest thing ever. Okay, so let's talk about Sam Darnold going over to the Minnesota Vikings. No, I'm sorry. What did I say?
He's from the Vikings.
I was looking at the Seahawks. Sorry, I was looking at the Vikings for some reason. Sam Darnold going to the Seahawks.
Yeah.
What do you think of this pickup for the?
I think it's an odd. They kind of looked like they were going to scrap the team and then they go out and get him for $100 million. So I don't know. You always pull for a guy like Sam Darnold because he was a high draft pick and kind of career was ruined, and he kind of had a good year last year. I never thought he was going to go very far. I didn't think he'd get that many wins in Minnesota, to tell you the truth. But, he folded at the end of the year, and that's kind of his MO. And, we'll see what happens. But, I may need Seattle to win a couple games, so I'm going to watch him and pull for him a little bit there once in a while. But other than that, I don't know. I think it's a lot of money.
3-year, $100.5 million.
Yeah, it's 3 a year.
The problem is, they got Jackson Smith and Jigba, great wide receiver over there, but they just got rid of DK Metcalf and released Tyler Lockett. So you're kind of like, they must be searching for a wide receiver this year.
Running game. They don't have a running game.
No, that's not true. They got the Kenneth
Walker.
Kenneth Walker. I think he's great.
Yes.
He's had some great seasons. You're insane.
They kind of fell apart last year, but
they sucked.
They were in it for a while.
The thing for me is he's Geno Smith is not. I don't. I know he's had a great couple good seasons, but Geno Smith's one of those players where you go, yeah, it's cute, but we're not going to get anywhere.
Yeah.
And then speaking of him, he gets traded over to the Raiders. My brother-in-law is a Raiders fan. I asked him how he felt. He's like, oh yeah, it's okay. And I think it is good for them to have gotten Geno Smith.
Geno's like 32 now, right?
Yeah. He's up there. But I think it was smart of them to get Geno Smith because I was worried the Raiders, for my family.
I hear you.
For my family's sake, I was worried they were going to draft a quarterback, which I just don't think these quarterbacks are very good. I think they have a chance now.
They don't draft well at all.
I think they have a chance now to get Ashton Jeanty. And, to have that running back with that great tight end that they have, now they just got to start getting a quarterback in next year's draft when it'll be a much deeper NFL draft for quarterbacks.
And again, they've never had an offensive line there. They're falling apart all the time. They have great defensive end. Max is great.
They got him locked up for a while.
They're awesome. Yeah, they signed him. He's an awesome player. I was hoping we could do something there, but I knew that wasn't going to happen either. But
how great is it that Micah Parsons hasn't been signed yet?
Man, he's going to get $100 million a year or something.
And they're just waiting, and he's just going to get paid more, and it's just great. I love it. Sorry, we're not even talking about the Cowboys yet.
You've got to have a good GM. That's the problem with some of these teams. They don't know how to build a team, and every year they just get themselves behind the ball and behind the 8 ball even farther and farther. It's great. It's true.
Chris Godwin re-signs with the Buccaneers, 3 years, $66 million contract. Great for him. Bummer season last year when he got hurt on that last play of the game in garbage time, which is why you do not play in garbage time at full speed because this is what happens.
I don't like the team he plays for. I don't necessarily like him, but he could have gotten another 10 or 20 million if he went somewhere else. So I like players that stay
Agreed.
with their team because they like the team, they like the coach, or they think we can build here together instead of just being this free agent type player. So Godwin's kind of back in my good graces, if you will, because I think he took a little less than what he really could have probably got, but he said, I'm going to stay here, I'm going to play for Tampa Bay, and hope we beat the crap out of him next year.
Yeah, I think it's true. No, I agree. I think it's cool because he has he had the opportunity to get more money, go be a number one. In Tampa Bay, he's probably better than Evans at this point in his career.
He's got a good quarterback there, too. He knows
but Evans, okay, yeah. But he, at this point in his career, he's probably better than Mike Evans, but he'll still always kind of be in the shadow of Mike Evans. So this is just cool that, he would stay there and sacrifice being the number one and getting more money just to be, still looked upon as number two. Laramie Tunsil traded to the Commanders. Kind of a bummer for us. Great player, Laramie Tunsil. You remember he's the guy that really dropped in the draft back in, 2016, 2017. He looked like he was going to be the first overall pick. Then the person, his dad or something like that, released that video of him smoking pot. I don't know if you remember.
Yeah, I do.
He was expected to be kind of a first overall pick. He dropped to the 13th, but he's turned his career around. 5 Pro Bowls. He's been great. He was on the Dolphins when he was drafted. Then he went to the Texans, and he's gone to the Pro Bowl 3 years in a row for them. So kind of a bummer to go to the Commanders. We really don't want to have to see him every year because he is a really great player.
How old's he?
Let's see, 60, 30. He's exactly 30.
Okay.
He'll turn 31 in August. So
and he played for Texans last year.
Texans for the last since 19.
Yeah, I'm sure he's glad to be out of there because their offensive line was abysmal last year. So
it's true.
It's tough when you're one of the best players at your position and you're playing on a line and you can't even trust anybody around you.
Yeah,
but yeah, he's going to the Commanders. Not cool.
That sucks. Devontae Adams signs with the Rams. I didn't write down exactly what his contract details were. It was a 2-year, correct?
Yeah,
2-year, $46 million, $23 a year. How do you like this for the Rams?
Well, it's good for them. I don't know how much, how well he's going to play because he's getting up there and he's had some issues in the last couple seasons, but he's got a good quarterback. He's got a good, they got a good offense. They know what they're doing there. They know what they're doing there in LA.
And he gets to go with a, Puka Nacua, the wide receiver there. He gets to be a part of that. That's a great player and wide receiver there. So he gets to kind of be a part of a, number two. He kind of gets to be the number two. Yeah. It's good for him. It's going to help him a lot more. Yeah. It's a bummer because we don't really love him because he's from the Packers.
But they got a good team. He's playing for the Jets, but he's playing on a good team.
It's true. Speaking of which, it was just like 3 hours ago, so I didn't write it down. But Cooper Kupp joining the Seahawks on a 3-year, $45 million deal. That's a big deal.
So Sam has somebody to throw the ball now.
Yeah, okay. Jackson Smith and Jigba and Cooper Kupp. Same thing for Cooper Kupp being the number 2.
Yeah,
that's a good spot for him.
And he's still a tricky guy. I mean, I don't think he has a lot. You got to be careful. He doesn't take too many hits, but he can definitely still got speed and he can still get you stuff. So I mean, he's a good player.
Mike Gesicki, this one's not super big like the other ones, but I like him to play for Penn State. Mike Gesicki re-signed with the Bengals on a 3-year, $25.5 million contract. That's a good spot for him to be there. I thought he was really good last year with them. He was kicking our butt. Until we destroyed them. He was killing us in that game.
He was.
So, no, I'm happy for him to get that money, and he hasn't really made too much money in his career.
Because he was Miami, right?
Correct, yeah.
We really liked him coming out of college.
He was drafted by the Patriots, right? Or no, was he?
I thought it was Miami.
He was drafted by Miami, then he was on the Patriots for like a year. It was weird. It was really weird. Yeah, it was a really strange season for him 2 years ago, I think. But
he's a heck of a player.
He is, and I like him a lot. Yeah, 29 years old, 6'6", big dude. DJ Reed, this was one of the players that I was kind of thinking, maybe, we kind of knew it wasn't going to be happening. He signs with the Detroit Lions, I believe, for $48 million. How long is it for? I don't remember. Give me one quick second. 3-year, $48 million. Yeah, we probably weren't going to be able to reach that number. No. Good player, and it sucks that he goes to a conference. Good team, good conference team. It sucks.
And they needed somebody last year in that position because they had so many injuries.
Yeah,
that defense.
Khalil Mack, another player that I was kind of looking for possibly. He re-signs with the Chargers.
$18 million for 1 year.
1 year, 18 wasn't going to happen. No, I'm not going to pay that much money.
Great player, man.
Really good player. Really strange career. He felt like when he first started. I remember, my gosh, it was like, it was the Bears. No, it was the Raiders.
Was it? I thought
Raiders, and then got traded to the Bears.
Oh, okay.
When that idiot John Gruden took over and destroyed the team.
Yeah,
Man, that was sad.
I mean, he's played well into his 30s, too.
Yeah, I mean, last year, I'm pulling it up right now, his numbers from last year. Only 6 sacks in 16 games, not great. But the year before that, he had 17, which was a career high.
Crazy.
So, man, he's a good player. Man, back when he was on the Raiders, it felt like he got a forced fumble every game, every other game. And then same with Chicago, because Chicago
sack fumble guy,
just as good there. It was unbelievable. Yeah. All right, let's talk a little bit about the two teams that I kind of hate the most in the world. I don't want to go too long because we'll try our best to get through this. But, Dad, I have loved, and I mean loved, watching the 49ers just get dismantled.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
We had questions like early on, like, what's Howie doing? Boy, out there, what's John Lynch doing? Holy mackerel. He let half the team go.
Yeah, Charvarius Ward is going over to the Colts. Dre Greenlaw going over to the Broncos. Good offseason for the Broncos. Keep an eye on them. Talanoa Hufanga going to the Broncos as well.
Wow.
Similar there. And then releases. These are just guys those were just free agents that left.
Right.
They released Kyle Juszczyk. Of course, they got rid of Javon Hargrave. We knew that was happening. And then, of course, the trade of Deebo Samuel. I mean,
right.
This is beautiful. This is beautiful, which sucks that it goes to Commanders. But still, beautiful to see the Niners just kind of just.
And now they got all marked on. Brock Purdy has $50 million a year, which is going to destroy their cap and probably their next couple seasons. Yeah.
I know.
Yeah, no love lost there.
Beautiful, I know. Next thing, the Cowboys. So number one, we'll point this out. Old Eagles fan and sorry, not fan, Eagles player and guy that we're all a fan of, Miles Sanders, signs with the Dallas Cowboys. So, I told my dad, I might have even said it on here, I'm like, man, I feel so bad for certain players who weren't here for the Super Bowl, obviously Fletcher and Kelsey and stuff.
Right.
And then you're like, Miles Sanders. Now I don't feel bad because now he's on the Dallas Cowboys. So,
yeah.
Nope, don't feel bad at all anymore.
It's funny because Miles Sanders, he left us. He didn't, right? Or did we not?
No, we didn't want him.
So he went to Carolina.
Yeah, they didn't want him.
Yeah, Greg Wood, you were talking about too, another player who just had gotten snuck on a practice squad or something just to get a ring.
Yeah,
he's
going to be playing. He's going to be playing the XFL or the UFL now. Is that what it's called?
Okay,
the San Antonio Brahmas. He's on that team.
Nice.
See, maybe I'll check out that. You ever watch XFL, UFL?
No.
It's funny. I always tell myself like, oh
yeah,
I'll look at it, and I'd always forget.
If I do put it on, it's on for 5 seconds. And
yeah,
I know, man. It's weird. The USFL I've told you about. When I love that league, I used to watch it back in the 80s. I was really into it, but that's because when the Eagles were not a very good team, and it was just real exciting because they were taking a lot of college players. But now I just don't. I don't have enough energy.
All right, let's get in. Sorry. So what I was going to say. DeMarcus Lawrence, as we all know, signed a 3-year contract with the Seahawks for $32.49 million. And then, while being interviewed at the facility, I believe, talked about, Dallas. I love Dallas, and it was my home, and my family lives there. And he made a nice little comment saying was never going to win a Super Bowl there, which was wonderful. And then, of course, Micah Parsons, who, man, for the Eagles fans who say, like, oh, yeah, you want Micah, it's every day more and more you do not want Micah because this dude, I know he's a great player, but my God, does he just says everything about everything. I mean, it would be so annoying. Like if I was a Cowboys fan, it'd be. I mean, I wouldn't want to live anymore. But I would be like, this dude got to shut up. I mean, that's what the Cowboys fans say. I love it. Keep going, man. It's great. He goes on there, Twitter, X, whatever, talks some smack back to DeMarcus Lawrence, calls him a clown. Then DeMarcus Lawrence hits back at him saying, oh, I'm a clown for telling the truth. Yeah. And then says, if you spent less time tweeting and more time winning, maybe I would have stayed. Yeah. Man.
Yeah. And that's an 11-year guy. He played for the Cowboys for 11 years.
11 years, which it's funny. You look at both sides of it. And on one side, you're like, I side with Lawrence because it's like, yeah, he wasn't going to win a Super Bowl there. They suck. A terrible ran organization. But on the other side of it, you're like, well, if you're saying you're never going to win a Super Bowl there, you played 11 years there, so you kind of make
one of the reasons.
You're kind of one of the reasons. You're making making yourself kind of look bad. Yeah. But still, I love it. Any slight towards the Cowboys.
Well, it's nice to see a little bit in between each other, the banter going on. You know, and it kind of outshines some of the other stuff that happens in some of the other teams. So
it is. It's wonderful. I love
they always blow that up to the top too.
Of course. Yeah, that's the thing. It's going to be on the radio shows the next 4 or 5 days.
Yeah.
I guess it's Friday, so it'll be on Monday. But still,
hopefully there's more tweets going back and forth.
I know. I hope so, man. All right, Dad. Let's get off of here. You got anything else to say?
Oh man, I'm good.
Not about the Eagles. Not about football.
Not.
Phillies are coming up soon. When does baseball start?
It's going to start early April, so
it's always
late March, a couple of weeks from now.
I think March 28th is opening day.
It used to be April is when it started, but now they push it to a Sunday night.
March 31st.
I know. It's not how it used to be, buddy.
I know, it's funny. Phillies are coming up soon. Got Union are going on right now, doing pretty good. Have you checked them?
No, I think they're 3-0.
I think they're undefeated now at 4-0. We double check that right now.
Watch the highlights.
I'm gonna have to add it back into my script. We haven't talked about other teams in a while because we were kind of focused up on the Super Bowl.
Pretty good so far.
It looks like they're 3-0. So 3-0 right now.
They probably play tomorrow night.
So they're number 1 in the Eastern Conference right now. So hey, good for them.
Very good.
Yeah, if they're playing tomorrow, I'll check out the score.
Nice.
All right, let's say our goodbyes. You can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, or TikTok. If you like our Eagles Therapy podcast, do us a favor, rate and subscribe wherever you get your podcast. If you're watching on YouTube, please like and subscribe. Comment down below how you're feeling about free agency. If you're watching on YouTube, I already said that, sorry. You can email us your questions at oureaglestherapy@gmail.com. But other than that, from all of us here at Our Eagles Therapy Podcast, I'm Basil.
I'm Baz.
Go Birds.
Fly, Eagles, fly.